to the chat room as we continue with today's edition of Breakfast Live. Today being a Tuesday also, we also get to be joined by a health expert to touch base on the different health issues. And joining me in the chat room is Cecellia Saidi. She's here to talk about hypertension. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Anthony.
And on the sidelines, you told me Happy New Year. Like this is our very first meeting in the year 2019.
Sure, it's a first session for 2019.
Amazing. I thought we had met before.
Yeah,
like in the year
the days are
2019.
just passing so fast.
Okay.
Before we know it, it's Christmas again.
Okay. So you're here to talk about hypertension. Let's just get straight into it. What is hypertension?
So hypertension from a nutrition perspective.
From a nutrition
Yeah,
perspective,
because it has another side
Mm-hmm.
where hypertension can be as a result of age, stress, or other medical conditions.
Okay.
Yeah, but from a nutrition perspective, so firstly to say hypertension, which is commonly known as high blood pressure, is determined by two things. Firstly is the amount of blood that's being pumped by the heart, that's coming out of the heart, as well as the pressure that's been mounted, the amount of pressure that's been mounted on the artery walls. So these two things are the ones that determine high blood pressure. So if you go for a blood pressure test, a cuff, when they're reading the blood pressure, there are two numbers that are going to appear. It's going to be, for example, the normal that's considered normal 120 over 80. So 120 is called systolic, and then the down one, the 80 is called diastolic. So these are the two readings that would make up your reading.
Oh, would you mind defining what systolic pressure means?
So
and
like
diastolic?
what I explained earlier to say it's determined by the amount of blood that's coming out of the heart. So the upper number, the 120, is a reading of how much blood is coming out of the heart, the systolic. Whilst when we're on a rest position like what we're doing now, just sitting, the amount of blood that's being exerted or that's being mounted on the artery walls at rest position is called the diastolic. So that's the below number,
Okay.
which is the 80.
And from a nutrition perspective, what are the causes of hypertension?
So usually I always, when I'm discussing with people, I always say we always put the blame on cholesterol. I don't want to eat this, cholesterol is going to clog my arteries. But then there is more to what causes hypertension with nutrition. So when we're eating, like I always say this as an anthem to say, when you're eating carbohydrates, protein, 1 gram of each is going to give you 4 kilocalories. 1 gram of fat is going to give you 9 kilocalories. If you take alcohol, 1 gram of fat is going to give you 12 kilocalories. So all these are outputs, the energy that the body needs. But if you're going to eat more than what the body requires, then this is going to be stored as glycogen, a type of sugar. And if the glycogen stores are full, then the body is going to convert the excess calories that you've consumed to be fat and sugar. So the fat that's being stored is called, in the fat stores, is called triglycerides. So it's these triglycerides that are very dangerous, and that they are clogged, that are deposited in the arteries of the cardio, of the heart. And this now will then narrow the arteries. For example, if I put my finger on a water pipe at the end, the water is going to flow very high. I can even make water to flow that far.
Yeah, sure.
But if I remove, the water is just going to flow there and then. It's the same thing with the arteries. If they are clogged with plaque, which is a cholesterol or triglycerides, it narrows the volume. So if the volume is narrow, that means that the pressure of the blood is going to be built.
Increase, yeah.
So there will be much pressure that's going to the heart. So that's what causes, like I say, two things: how much the blood is flowing out of the heart, and also the pressure in the walls of the arteries is what is going to be determining factor whether one is hypertensive or not.
Okay. Who is at the risk of getting it?
So it's everyone. Like I said in the beginning of the interview, to say there are also some other factors, race, there are other age factors. So somebody can be eating well, not accumulating triglycerides or cholesterol, but because of their rest, they might get hypertension. But when it comes to nutrition, so we're talking about how much kilocalories you're accumulating. So everybody has to watch the intake of triglycerides, how much they're accumulating. So this is coming from the carbohydrates that we're eating, sugars, and obviously fat itself.
It's very hard to effectively monitor the amount of food that you take in, especially in regards to the substances that ingested in the body and ought to be kept at some sort of level. Is there any way of avoiding getting hypertension in as much as you're not checking your food intake?
So there are other things that we can take in with food, food substances. For example, vegetables and fruits, they're very high in potassium. So potassium, you've heard about maybe people that are hypertensive, that I'm not supposed to take in a lot of salt. So sodium has an effect of helping the body to retain more fluids, which is bad for hypertension. So fruits and vegetables have potassium that acts as a counter effect of sodium. We also have olive oil. It has properties that help in reducing inflammation in the arteries. Also garlic and other herbs like cinnamon, they're also supplements that one should be taking because they're also helping in controlling hypertension.
Can it be treated?
Yes, it can. So for medical drugs, prescribed drugs, what they do is they only vasodilate. They increase the space in the arteries for the blood to flow normally. After the effect of the medication, the situation goes back to what it was. But there are supplements that helps in cleaning the plaque, the cholesterol, the triglycerides that's clogged in the arteries, plus workout. So if you're shedding your weight, obviously you're also reducing the amount of triglycerides, the fat that you've accumulated. So you also help to retain the arteries back to normal in blood flow.
Okay. Any other related information that you may wish to put across in regards to what we were discussing before we wrap up?
So it's very important for people to know that you can have hypertension and not have any signs at all.
Oh.
So not feeling anything, no heart pumping very fast, you can have a headache. So it's also very important for one to have regular checkups at a clinic, because if you see your blood pressure is over 140/90, then it's an alarm, and if that's a consistent reading, then your doctor and you should sit down and discuss what should be done aside the nutrition remedies that we've just talked about.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Cecellia Saidi, for coming through to the program. I always do appreciate it.
Thank you, Yanko.
There you have it from Cecellia Saidi talking about hypertension, and I'm hoping that you have grasped enough information to what, in regards rather to what she has been talking about. But today's edition of Breakfast Live continues.